Hi there, I'm Thak. Today we are forging a snake. So let's begin. What I've got here is 5/16 round bar, and it's 24 inches long, so we're going to start with that. So I'm going to put this in the forge and get it heating up, and we'll take it from there. So I'm using my upsetting block in the vise, and I'm going to put about an inch sticking out top, tighten that down, and now I'm tapping on that, trying not to have it collapse over. I'm just trying to get some thickness there. And I only want to take it down to about half an inch high there. So what I'm doing is just trying to get a little thickness back, what will become the triangular part of the head, but I still have to draw this out here. So I just wanted to get a little bit more thickness there. Now we'll have to go back to the forge and then to the anvil to draw out the rest. So I just want to draw out a very dull point. If you can make that out, but that's what I've got there, and now I'm going to just flatten that down a bit, and then creating that sort of diamond shape, I'm going to then round out the snout a bit. And let's call that close enough. So what I'm trying to go is for, basically when I do snake heads, I end up doing like a boa constrictor, just because I like the shape of their head. I think they have a nice handsome head. The fact that it tapers out, it gets wide there, and then thins out to the neck. If you look at the anatomy of different snakes, a lot of snakes just basically look kind of like a worm. They just kind of taper out. Not overly appealing, visually interesting, so I like that boa constrictor python type shape. So now what I need to do is thin out the neck. Before I do that though, I'm just going to use center punch and put some eyes in there. Okay, so I'm going to put the eyes close to the widest point of that triangle there and right on the edge as much as possible. This is by no means anatomically correct or overly detailed, and I'm going to get my cameraman to take a look at a larger snake head that we've got floating around the shop to give you a better idea of, you know, how much more elaborate this can be. But we're just trying to do something fairly rudimentary here. So now I just need to thin out the neck to create a little bit more contrast, and then we can move on to the body. So now I'm just thinning out the neck. So I've got it off the edge of the anvil, and I'm just getting up right close to that area there, thinning that out. I don't want to get too thin, but I do want to make a visual contrast. Now I need to go back to my head here, try to even things out a bit. Okay, now I've got the neck there. I'm going to get a little bit more heat back here and just thin it out, get that transition into the body. Just creating a long taper, maybe about 4 or 5 inches. And I'm doing the snake body still more or less round, where in reality a snake body is oval, but we're doing something, once again, quite simple, very rudimentary style snake here. So got my taper in there. Now I can start bending it up. Okay, so I've got my smallest bending forks here. I want to do some fairly tight bends. And I'm just kind of fumbling around in the dark here. I'm not sure how well this is going to work out. What you want to do is try to get like a whiplash shape, if that makes any sense, meaning that it zigzags back on itself quite far. That just makes for a more dramatic shape. And in the center of the snake's body you have tighter zigzags or more of a whiplash, and then as it goes to either end, head and tail, it tends to stretch out if the snake is in movement, so that gives it kind of a sense of direction. But that sort of thing, and now I can just tighten this whole thing up a little bit as I see fit. And we'll use that as our front end of the snake here. So I'm going to make this into a candle holder now, so I'm going to now wrap the candle part and then we can address the tail. Then accommodate that. Okay, so now I've got this jig, which is pretty handy for this kind of thing. I need to bring it around like that. Get a little bit more heat on there. I want to do another revolution. Okay, second revolution there. I need to do a little bit more to drop that down, and then we will have the tail. I'm just going to try to bring that down so that when it comes off here, when it sits, I'm now trying to get it that this part makes contact here. I'm trying to make this self-supporting. This little winding here is what holds a candle. Now we just need to forge the rest out into a tail. Might have a little bit more than I was hoping for, but we'll just make it work for that. So I'll flip this around, get a heat on there. So I'm just drawing out the tail. I actually put it over the edge to fuller it out a little bit quicker. You could also come in with your cross peen if you wanted and do that. But I find this is pretty thin stock. You don't have to do a whole lot of extra fullering to pinch it out and move it faster. I find it moves fairly quickly. So I want to try to get a long, consistent taper. And again, I'm going for a taper that's maybe 4 to 5 inches, somewhere in that range. So drawing it out, always draw it on a square first, and then you knock the corners off to round it out. If you've taken my basic course, you've heard me preach that one quite heavily. If you haven't taken my basic course, I think you should. Shameless plug. Okay, so there is the tail. Now we're just going to do a little bit of work with the bending forks and finish this sucker off. Alright, so I'm going to start in close to the body there. And I'm just trying to do my tight loop. Once I've got that one, I can quench it because of where I'm grabbing things here. I'll actually have to resort to the hammer. Many different ways you can approach using the bending forks. I want to make this loop really drop way back on itself here. Just for a little bit more drama now. Just got to get some more heat on there, finish off the tail. something like that. Now I'm just going to try to tap it down so that everything sits flat on the anvil surface. And that is not too bad. So there we have it. And then you put your candle in there and holds it upright. So there is a snake. I'm trying to do this for beginners that are looking for projects that they can experiment with and hone their skills and actually have something they can make and sell. You could sell this at a rent fair or something like that. I used to make a lot of these about 25 years ago and they were quite popular. I think they're pretty cool. They have kind of a culty sort of aspect to them. It can also, with the snake configuration, you can do stuff like towel bars, toilet paper holders. There's really, it lends itself to a lot of different things, and it's relatively easy for a beginner to tackle this. You can get the basic shape down there, and then if you can just work on getting some nice wiggles in there, you can get something that's quite attractive and a very saleable product that you can make relatively quickly. So there we have it. This, we're doing this beginner snake in anticipation of an upcoming video that we're going to be doing soon. I'm making a chalice, a copper chalice, basically a bowl, a shallow bowl with snakes coming down, forming the handle. So it would be 3 snakes on the handle there. And we're going to do a little bit more intricate version of the snakes for that. So look for that in an upcoming video. So in the meantime, please subscribe. Comments below, thumbs up, all that stuff. Thumbs down if you want, I don't care. Just give us some feedback and we will see you in a later video. So that is it. Fact out. See ya!